Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the XD Creative Challenge. I'm your host, Jesse Showalter, and it is gonna be an amazing day. We got people jumping in the chat because we are live streaming. We got Becca Smith in the chat, Uma and Lauren and Stroofy Roo and Christelle, and everybody's joining. So if you're watching this somewhere else, come on over to Behance where the awesome fun time is. Speaking of awesome fun streams, just got done watching Sam Peterson's stream. He's doing a really cool D&D character creation project. Amazing, super fun to watch. I was fixated on it. It was super fun because there's tons of great content here on Adobe Live all day long. Hey, speaking of the XD Challenge, what is it? If you're just joining, never done it before, go to behance.net/challenge/XD, hit the big blue button, scroll down, and make sure you join the community. You can get all the starting files in the description of these videos, but that community is going to be our XD Discord server with over 60,000 creatives. Post your work, get feedback, mentorship, all that kind of fun stuff. So jump in there. And speaking of jumping into things, let's jump into the project for the day. We are going to be doing a fun challenge. I know the title of this said Modern Web Design, but the prompt is to design a sleek and modern application by using Adobe fonts to find the perfect typographic voice for your mobile website. So it's actually kind of like a mobile website. And so that's kind of like what we're thinking about doing today. We got some inspirations and always the resource book that is built out of components and component states so you can flip through and get the things you need if you don't know where to find them. A little bit of information if you want to follow me online down there at the bottom, and a starting file. And just to save us some time, because I think in the starting file there's just this artboard, just to save some time because there's a lot of text in this project today in this challenge, I just went ahead and created a bunch of text. I found a bunch of Ipsum or filler text, and I already started designing a little bit of what this thing looks like. What I'm really thinking is it would be great to have a mobile website where I could really easily flip through a series of tabs, like accordion style animating tabs. And when you open one of those drawers or one of those accordion tabs, you can see 5 beautiful pieces of typography. You can like it, maybe go check it out a little bit more. It's kind of like a fun kind of just a little bit of a change on fonts.adobe.com. I love this. This is one of my favorite places to be to hunt down typography. We are in 36 days of typographic challenges, and if you haven't explored Adobe Fonts, you should, because I love this area down here. I love searching by classification, seeing, you know, what are the hot sans serif, slabs, script, mono fonts, all of them. You can change the properties and even some of the tags. Is it clean? Is it rough? Is it, you know, futuristic? Just a really fun way. And then you can typeset things by, you know, typing in here. So like we can do like mobile website, you know, we can kind of see all those things, change the text size, see the amount of fonts that are inside of the family, and then you can always view that family and then find out more about it, activate them instantly and deactivate them, which is nice. So that's what I want, like a fun browsing experience for a mobile device. And let's get started. Let's start building out just a little bit of flair in the top, and then let's build out some of these tabs. All right, so I'm thinking what we want to do is let's just, you know what I'm gonna grab something like, I don't know, this text over here, Los Feliz. I'm gonna pop it inside. I'm just gonna do a big ampersand. We will auto width, and then we'll just jump around. Let's find a really beautiful ampersand. I like this one from Lust Script. I'm gonna pop this open nice and big, and I'm gonna change the blending modes of this to something more like not screen. Let's see, color dodge or probably overlay. I'm gonna bring the opacity down. I'm just gonna kind of shove that up in the top right, bring the opacity down. I just want a fun embellishment. I want something there that's kind of fun. And then let's build. That works for me. Top 5 typography. Top 5 typography and fonts. I don't know. We want to fill that out just a little bit more. I really am loving this Monument Extended. There's actually 2 sizes to it. You got the regular, and then you have the ultra bold, which it is truly ultra bold, but I prefer the regular for this version. Let's build our first tab, and then we will actually create a nested component that has interactions in between this little accordion system that we're going to build here. So I'm going to hit R for rectangle. I'm going to stretch it up. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about here, I'll show you here in a second. I'm going to round the corners, but not all corners like this. I'm going to hold down Option on my keyboard and just drag down the right-hand corner. And you can see as I do that right above my head, right up there, you'll see the numbers actually changing. So let's do it something like maybe 32. And if you're like, what are you talking about? We're talking about these numbers, because we can either have all corners be the same or independent. We can also change those here like that. And I actually really love the part of this part of the interface here as you're clicking on them. See the little dial that changes there to tell you this is top right, bottom left. So helpful. Such a helpful little thing. All right, so we have our little background here. Let's do like a fun bold style. So I'm gonna go like a nice thick black border, it's not very thick, but it's bold, right? Crisp black card there. And then I have some little descriptors of those different categories, and I've already built an example one out here. So I can throw in slab serif. We're gonna need just a little bit more room. So I'm just gonna bring that up like so. Let's center this in the middle of our card, and I will zoom in so you can see what we are working on here, okay? And we might actually pull this out of the way. We don't need that starting file anymore. All right, so with that being said, we have our card here. It's kind of boring and white. Let's have some fun. Let's make it colorful and interesting, shall we? I'm actually gonna drag this card out so we can actually see it. And let's work a little bit here. I'm gonna drag another version of it down because I'm gonna style this thing up just a little bit. How about we do E for ellipse, okay? And we'll make sure that we've got room to work here. Let's bring our ellipse over, and I'm gonna take the border off. I'm gonna pick a color, and if I could open up like one of my favorite plugins if I wanted to, Command-Shift-P, like Dopley Colors, and find a really cool color palette. Let's find something that's kind of bold and bright and interesting. I'm going to press load more at the bottom. If you didn't watch the challenge where we played with colors and this plugin specifically, go back and watch it. It's a super fun one. Yeah, let's do, I'm not quite loving any of these yet. Do you see one? Do you see one that you love? Ooh, I like this one quite a bit. Let's go with that. Okay, so we're going to bring these colors in, group the whole thing together, and we will kind of work from there. So I'm going to hit I for my eye picker when I have my ellipse selected. Easy, fast way to get to your eye picker, your color picker. And I'm going to pop that in right there. And I'm just going to turn on, not background blur, but I'm going to turn on object blur right here. Turning on object blur allows me to increase the slider. And when I do that, I'm going to decrease a little bit of the opacity there. Okay, I like that. That's looking pretty cool. And then why don't we actually do that again? And why don't we give this that orange color, but let's bring just the hue of it down. So it's just kind of like a mild orange. And now we have like a little bit of that kind of like, what am I trying to say? That background blurred kind of like ellipse shape in there. You could play with these shapes. You could make them really, really fun, right? Make them like a little bit like oblong and like a little bit different, and pop these shapes in. And then we can change the color to it a little bit, maybe more of like a purple down here, change the shape, kind of wonk it out, really customize each one of these shapes. And then I always like to take these and play with the blending modes on them. So they're normal right now. What does multiply look like? It's going to blend into itself a little bit. What does overlay look like? Bring the opacity up on overlay. I kind of like that. That's kind of fun. Sometimes people are like, I don't know what all of these blending modes do. Then just experiment and figure out what you like, what works for you. I think maybe we'll do multiply and just bring it down like that. Okay. With that said, why don't we bring this shape above the whole thing? And I kind of actually, I think maybe I like it a little bit more with the white card, but that's okay. We're going to bring that white card on top, grab the whole thing and mask with shape. And now we've made this kind of fun customized card here. Okay. So now we can drag that old card out. Who needs that old card when we have this new fun, colorful one? So let's bring this up. Pop it right into the place that we want. Command Y will bring our layers panel back up, and we have our first card, right? Inside, these are the actual, this is the actual like font selection. So this is input serif. You can see I actually have it selected. I went through for you and saved the time and just activated all these fonts so we can get a true kind of look of this. Now what we can do here is, if you're going, what is he going to be doing? What I really want is a series of accordion cards just like this. Okay, so let's grab all of them. And you can imagine these cards kind of stacking down at the bottom. So I can tap on any one and it'll raise up, it'll shuffle up inside of the stack. That's what we want. Okay, so to do that, we're basically just gonna recreate that style, and kind of like a cooking show, like turkey in the oven, turkey out. Guess what? I've already gone and created all of these typographic selections that we can use. So I can get rid of these ones and I can bring all these over. All right, so you have your slab serif, we already popped that one in, and you have your sans serif, your serif selections, all of those. Let's build the cards for these as well, shall we? So I am going to, I'll be a little bit more boring this time. Should I be a little bit more boring, or should I duplicate this really interesting card and create a couple versions of it? Maybe I should. I'll be a little bit more interesting. Let's take our rectangle this time, and we will kind of drag this over to try to find the blue, and let's make it a little bit more punchy on the blue. I would really like, yeah, ooh, maybe we do like a really punchy one like this, and we grab our ellipses and bring them up and see what they do. So let's grab, now multiply is not working on the dark colors, so we might want to move from multiply to something like screen, and that's going to give us a little bit more of that vibe that we're looking for. Again, we can customize these if we want to. I'll just move these around so they look a little bit different, and I'll grab the opacity and bring them down. I don't want to waste too much time by trying to customize each one of these cards, but let's just create a few more of these, and we'll just do them really, really simply. There's one like that, and let's do another one. We'll grab the rectangle, the background, and we'll do the purple. And yeah, why not? Let's do one that's a dark color. That'll just kind of punch a little bit, huh? Cool. Okay, and I don't like these colors, so let's change to lighten. Ooh, maybe overlay. Yeah, something like that. Let's go back to lighten or screen and just bring the opacity of it down. Okay, something like that. It's looking kind of cool. I'm gonna drag this up and move these things over a little bit just so we get a little bit of variation. All right, now we got our cards built. 5 cards for our should be 5 sections. And let's see if we can get these to line up with our typographic selections. So let's get rid of this one. And I'm just gonna grab all of my cards that I've made, and over here in my layers panel, you'll see on the left-hand side, I'm gonna collapse all these so I can see what we're working with. Each of those cards is a little mask here, right? And so we just wanna make sure, let's make our lives easier. Let's bring those down to the bottom. Everything in Adobe XD that's not currently on our artboard is technically on this pasteboard. So you can see there's all those objects. If you ever wondered, like, what is the pasteboard? What is he talking about? Where did all the layers go? That might be where they went. All right, so let's grab each one of these now and bring them up and see if we need to change the text a little bit. But we'll go script here, good, serif here, sans serif, and this one, this mono one, is definitely gonna have to change. All of the fills on these are gonna have to turn white and white. Whoa, I don't know why that happened. Let's see if we can fill these with white. There it is. Okay, cool. Can we do that again? Fill and just change. There it is. Everything went white. Now, when we're looking at contrast, you could make an argument that like all of these should probably, like some of these could be white and not black. That's fine. Let's mix it up. Let's have a little bit of fun here. I'm going to align everything center, horizontally and vertically, so we have some consistency. And then we're going to name our layers of our cards here, and then we'll start working. So let's group that together. Command G. You guessed it, all the way across the board. Command G. And now it's going to be very, very important that we name all of our cards. Otherwise, we will get lost. So I'm going to name this one Slab. I'm going to name this one that comes right after it Sans. I'm going to name this one Script. Good. Okay, cool. I'm going to name this one Serif, and the other one is Mono, right? Name our layers. Always name your layers. It makes life so much easier. Let's get rid of our color palette. We don't need it anymore. I think we're doing pretty good. And I'm going to grab all of them, and I'm just going to align them and like pop them on top of each other and get them in our project. I'm actually going to pull these all the way down like so. And let's zoom in so we can see what we're doing. Whoa, that's a little bit too zoomed. Sorry about that. And here we go. Hit V on my keyboard so I can do some selection stuff again. And then I'll just start releasing them, right? I'm going to grab Slab because it's my top layer. I'm just going to hold down Shift so I'm nudging by an amount of 10 and nudge it up and just nudge the next little accordion up, and you're gonna see we're gonna make a component out of all of these, and then we're gonna kind of pop them all together and create our fun interactions. So let's just do one more. We have mono. Great. All right, cool. Feel free to put these in whatever order you think is right. All that's totally fine. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna grab all of those. I wanna make sure that my background is locked. So I'm just gonna lock that, grab the rest of these, and I'm just gonna distribute them a little bit better. You could, if you wanted to, pop them in inside of a group that has stacks working. This works fine for me. Okay, so now we have our 5 typography and fonts. It would be cool to do some fun like swoopy arrows that like gives the user some instructions, like click on one and it'll open up, or maybe we should just have one kind of already open like this. That could be kind of cool. So let's just highlight mono and let's make this text just a little bit bigger. So we'll just increase the size of this text. Typography and fonts. Let's increase the line height, just take up a little bit more space. I like it. The whole thing kind of works. Okay, so we're gonna group this together. Now you could have made each one of these a component, and then you could nest those components into another component, but sometimes that can get a little bit complex. For complexity's sake, you don't need to do it. Sometimes you can just create the elements and then put them all together, and that's what we're doing here, right? We're grabbing each one of these elements. Everything's looking good. One thing that's really bugging me is the fact that this text is not lined up with the other ones. Let's grab a little ruler, a little guide and grid, and make sure that things are kind of lined up, at least there, right? So that my sanity stays intact and I don't go crazy. So I'm going to grab all of them, right? You can see I'm grabbing all of the cards we've made, and I'm going to create a component out of them. So I don't have to group them together first. I just want to press Command K, and now I've made my component. Now I'm going to rename that component accordion. Okay, and let's lock this all this text as well. We don't need any of that to move. Just our component. We have the default state. Our default state is with mono up. Okay, so we're going to create a new state, right? And yes, let's create a toggle state. So if we want to be able to click on any one of these individual cards, and so instead of there's a couple ways we do this. Let's actually explore this really quickly, shall we? Before we do this, let's go back and not make this a component. Let's do this one way, and then we could do this the other way. So the artboard to artboard way to do this would be to come in and, not make everything a component. Just grab the card itself, bring it down, and then bring this one up into view, like so, okay? However you want to do it. And then we would navigate back and forth between the two. This is actually very easy because now we can click on the entire mono card. Anywhere you click on this mono card the serif card is going to get us there. So we can navigate over by dragging and wiring it to the next one. See that connection there, right in the middle. And we're saying, hey, on tap, I want you to not transition, but I want you to auto animate over to mobile site 1. Obviously we could rename that artboard to be something a little bit more descriptive, like we could name it serif, and then ease out. And let's do this in like a little bit longer, 0.8 seconds, like that. Okay, and then let's say we want to just go back the other way. We can just mimic that same like prototyping. So now we have one up and exposed. We can click here. Good, that looks pretty good. We can put it back down, and now we get a little bit of that card shuffle action, which is nice. So that's one way to do it. Okay, let's do it the other way where we delete these and we're going to create a component state out of all of it. Okay, let's go back to design. I'm actually, just for fun, I'm going to lower this card down so we get a similar effect across the board. And we're going to go back to what we were doing before. Command K, turn it all into a component named accordion. All right, so whichever way you feel more comfortable with, that's the way to do it. Okay, now from here, we're going to create those states, right? The default state was with all of them collapsed. Let's just create a new state, right? And we'll see the difference between creating a state and then prototyping it or wiring it with the interaction ourselves versus using one of those kind of like baked in toggle states. So state 2, let's call this one mono up, like that. Okay, all we have to do is now edit that component state. So we'll do this. We want to be able to see everything, obviously, right? So we might actually need to bring these other cards down in our interaction. How about we shuffle down that? Now we'll grab both of them, shuffle it a little bit more. Let's do one more. We'll shuffle it like so. And then let's take slab and we'll push it down. This thing now actually doesn't have to come up so far. And if we wanted to even get like more customized, we can grab the actual rectangle and just like drop it down. So it's going to grow. Okay. So now you have state, default state, and you have them shuffling down. Okay. Now we'd have to prototype that interaction up, and we do that by heading to prototype and clicking inside of the actual component itself. We can find the individual element we want to work with. Let's go mono. And instead of clicking and dragging, all you have to do is just click on the prototyping node, and we'll say, hey, on tap, I want you to auto animate. See how it says choose a state or layer, right? So we want to choose the state of mono up, ease out, 0.8 seconds. Beautiful. Okay. Now let's go. We're going to select the entire component again. Let's go to mono up, and we'll go back down the other way, right? Let's click on mono. We'll do the same thing. We're going to go back to the default state. Make sure that you just set whatever state you want to be presented when you start your prototype. And now it's all baked into one component. We should be able to click it up just like so and click it down. All right. If you don't like the timing of that, feel free to fix it. We might do different timings for every single one to see the difference. All right. Now from here, if we want to create another state, let's go from mono up, and maybe this is not like this is kind of like maybe a bad user experience because our users don't have anything to click on. So why don't we bring our card up like so and keep the next tab like visible a little bit more, right? Let's do that. Let's keep serif a little bit visible. It's kind of encouraging you to cycle through and click the different elements, right? So now you can see we have our default state. Mono is up. Let's create another state based off of mono up, a new state. We'll call this serif up, or you could just call them serif. You don't need to mention up, do you? Now, when I'm doing serif up, I want to see a little bit of that card exchange. So I'm going to bring mono down. Doesn't really matter how far. And now I bring serif up. And again, you can grow the rectangle so it sits behind the rest of the cards. All right. I don't know why I have a fill on this little heart. Let's make sure that's off. But now we have a new state. Let's try the whole thing together really quickly and see how it looks. We have mono. Cool. We could tuck that back down. We can click on it, and from there we could hit serif. Oh, which did not work well for us. Let's see, what did we do wrong? Serif up. Aha! We did not prototype correctly. So let's go into our prototype, and we have to add the interaction onto the card that we want, right? Do it again. Tap, choose the state we want to go to. Serif up. Beautiful. Now we want to do this for the other states that we're at, like mono up. Let's make sure that we can interact with serif, right? Go to serif up. Beautiful. Okay. And then let's do from serif up. Let's say we click on serif, and let's just go back to, I don't know, let's just go back to the default for now. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy prototyping. It's happening here. Now we should be able to bring it up, click on mono, click on serif, close the whole thing. Kind of a fun, nice little interaction, right? Okay. So that's the basic idea of, you know, obviously in 36 days of typography, we're using typography, we're having fun, we're being playful, but also creating some meaningful interactions, good user experiences. You're doing that all inside of Adobe XD. Hey, speaking of meaningful interactions and great design, let's look at some of your submissions before we end the challenge for the day. Lauren Stanton did a little vertical typography from yesterday. Let's look and see what else we have. This one is from Amulia Janala. This is the Parallax Typography Challenge. And let's check out One Mitz has done a little bit of the vertical typography as well. This one looks interesting by Yuyame. So we're going to jump into Behance. I love it. If you put it in the chat, we'll look at it either in the chat or we'll jump over to the Behance. I like playing with the prototype. Cyberpunk, cool, great use of the typography. This is super fun. Let's see where it just, the design is just really, really nice. I like it. I like the use of, kind of using this vertical typography as these accent pieces, right? It's big enough where you can see it. It's not distracting, right? We still have main typography down here that we can use. I like the whole vibe. It looks really, really fun. Here's another one of those vertical typography pieces. I like the glow. Very cyberpunk, very Blade Runner, like the new version of Blade Runner and the original. I like it all. That's amazing. Let's look at Amulia Janala's Parallax Type Exploration here. Let's check it out. We got a little video to watch. Ooh, that's kind of fun. Interesting. you know, kind of like almost like a ticket, like what are those called? Ticket tapers, or like a marquee kind of moving along the side. That is a super fun little exploration. I like the colors and the typography that's used. Play with type, have fun with it. Do something that's outside of your comfort zone. If you've never designed, if you've never done like a lot of interaction or animation, try it. If you've never done a design using only black and red, try it. Explore, right? Have some fun. This is a really beautiful layout. And I love that the vertical typography is actually used here to kind of lead the user's eye down the page. It's connecting elements. It's telling a story, actually. It's narrating it using the typography, which I love. I think this is a gorgeous example of, oh, got a fun little interaction there, a little hover. Super cool. Totally not necessary, but an amazing little addition. And also, how about some mixing the parallax with the vertical type? Now we're talking. Now we're talking about something pretty spicy and pretty special. Let's hit a thumbs up there, and we'll have time to look at one more. We have a fun little interaction by Yu Yang, and I wish we had time to see the whole thing, but this is gorgeous. I'm going to come back and leave some appreciation there, and I appreciate all of you for being here, part of the Adobe Creative Challenge, the XD Challenge. We will see you tomorrow as we wrap this series up. We'll be looking at lots and lots of work, reviewing, talking, just chilling out and rapping about typography. Meet me here, same time, same place, here on the XD Creative Challenge. We'll see you then.